Hey guys, and welcome to probably my last video covering the rest of 2020 as far as Kickstarter board games are concerned. This is going to be a big video. There's some stuff I have not covered yet. There's going to be some exclusive announcements. There's going to be a lot of good stuff in here. I'm really excited to share all of this with you. I'm going to like some games. I'm going to yell at some games. I'm going to do the whole range. I'm going to be very upset. I'm going to be very happy and hyped. You're going to have to see which ones are which. Trust me, I've been surprised myself pulling all these up. But I'm ready to share them all with you so that you know what's coming up in the future. That's either late 2020 or possibly some things that might end up being 2021 or that we just don't know. So without wasting any more time, let's go ahead and start the video. Now, as always, I'd like to start out with a huge thank you to my YouTube members and my wonderful, wonderful patrons. It is through them that this channel is largely supported, and I cannot thank them enough. You guys are all so awesome. I've gotten new hard drives. I'm going to be upgrading my camera. I've already upgraded my camera once. All of my lighting, all of the audio, all of that is thanks to them. A lot of this thanks to them. So if you like what you see on this channel, if you appreciate the effort, and you can consider supporting that way. Even if not, though, just watching without an ad blocker helps, obviously. Sitting through those stupid ads. Down below, there's links to Amazon, merch store, all that kind of fun stuff that I'm super excited to kind of share with you guys. I'm going to be getting my Make Games Not Campaigns shirt out, but it is out now. But I'm going to be doing kind of an official announcement here soon. Excited to share more about that. And really, regardless of anything, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it, and I hope you find this video helpful or entertaining or something along those lines, that you get some benefit out of it, and you can leave this video knowing more and being a smarter consumer because of it. So let's go ahead and dive into these right now. Okay, so starting things out is Twisted Fables. They're actually going to have a deluxe edition. No, I don't know what's involved with that, but what I can say is that I will be covering this game, actually. So I should be able to get an unboxing of it before when the Kickstarter's live, which is here very, very soon. When the Kickstarter's, I believe it's October. When the Kickstarter is live, I'll have an unboxing. You can see exactly what's in the game. I can tell you how it's played. I can do a review, all that kind of stuff. If I were to describe Twisted Fables, it's a card game, but it's like, the reason it's called Twisted Fables, because you have like Red Riding Hood, but Red Riding Hood is in like a cyberpunk 2077 kind of craziness going on here. Looks super interesting. There's a lot here. Here's another version of the deluxe edition. I think it's just flipped. And then you have the regular version here. This is something that I would get, I believe, that I can show off. But I mean, the artwork is phenomenal. I love the artwork. I love that kind of like cartoony but still realistic look. I think that's pretty cool. And they're all very dynamic when it comes to like standing there with the cityscape behind them and wind flowing, or looking through whatever the heck is going on here in this like Earth orb portal weirdness thing going on. Seriously, there's a ton of this really interesting world play here, and I'd like to see what they do with the card. Additionally, I'd kind of like to see what they do eventually with like a miniatures game. I don't know if they have any plans for that, but it seems to be their own IP, so they can kind of go about it however they wish. But anyway, we don't know too much about it yet, but I will be covering it, so I wanted to cover it here as well, because there'll be a lot more on that on the channel with an unboxing and a review, so you should see that here soon. Next up, I have Townsfolk Tussle. This will be launching October 20th. This is a boss battler. If Bugs Bunny did it, is I guess how I could say that. If Acme put together a boss battler, this would be it. I actually have it. It's like off camera over there, but I do have it. I will be unboxing it here soon for you guys, and then obviously I will provide a review as well. This, again, it just looks super interesting. Like, one of the bosses is this safe that's opening herself up, that's wearing a skirt. I mean, they are crazy. Like, it's just all over the place. So like one of the characters is like this guy, right? And you can see his mini here. What I find interesting, besides the fact that it stands out, and I think my kids would like something like that, is just the board layout actually looks quite nice. It looks like there's actually some good game here. So I'll let you guys know. I'll play it. It is also on Tabletop Simulator, so you can try it out there. I'll have a link By the way, I'll have a link to pretty much everything down below. So there's going to be links to some of my videos, links to, maybe the tabletop simulator or to their Facebook page or something. Either way, if you're interested in something, I will have something provided there so you can follow that breadcrumb and start following these games. Anyway, I like how they have so much terrain and stuff like that, and like kind of the movement looks really good. Stuff like streams that you have to cross over seem really cool, and hazardous beehives, and it looks like there's a lot here that I would actually appreciate when it comes to actual gameplay, which we know we don't back just because you can get some crazy miniatures like Hansy here. It's because of the actual gameplay. Additionally, you notice that there's a front-facing arrow. It's like the inverse of what Oathsworn did. Oathsworn had a 3D arrow, and they're having a recessed arrow. It's kind of interesting how they're doing that. Okay. Anyway, that's October 20th from them. Next up, we have Nova Aetas Renaissance. I'm probably saying that wrong, but whatever. Here's a preview page, again, linked down below. You can take a look at this. This is Ludus Magnus Studios' next kind of big Kickstarter, and you can kind of see they're already talking about a whole bunch of stuff. They have that big box that looks just like the Black Rose Wars box, kind of size-wise. I'm assuming that's what they're kind of assuming you're going to have here. So if you have Black Rose Wars, you kind of know what that entails. It's going to be a big box. It's going to be like a whole Calyx shelf, pretty much. So stretch goals and achievements and stuff. There's not a whole lot necessarily here yet, but I'm sure there will be. And they're saying December 2021. Oh, I'm assuming it's going to come out probably in October or November here, but I'm not for sure. They haven't announced it yet, but should be any time now. Either way, you can follow along, and there's this notify me on launch button that you can click. Next up, we have Frostpunk, the board game. This is a video game turned into a board game. I know a lot of people are pumped about this. It's on like Tabletop Simulator, I believe, as well. See, right here, here's a prototype. I believe that's playable. Again, if there is, I will definitely have a link down there for you, so you can kind of play the board game version of it. It does have miniatures and card with what looks like game art. Here's kind of a little bit of it as well as you're building out your city. All that looks super cool. This is my first yelling point. This is proper BS here. This is where I talk about you should never, ever, 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 ever back a game because of the renders. The renders are not what you get. You will not get this miniature. 100% guaranteed. This is not representative. This is pretty much false advertising. They're not even trying. If you think that your plastic miniature that's this big can have this kind of fur, well, let's zoom in a little bit more here, can have this kind of fur, you're wrong. This is not real. This is impossible. And they're just doing this because it looks cool in the render so that you like what the render looks like. But that is just stupid. It's stupid to even ever have this. And so it's like pulled in with this like really fine rope and this really fine chain here. And it's just hilarious. And then of course, he doesn't have a base. Instead, he's on these snow boots. Apparently, he's going to come on these little tiny pegs. Think about it. His boot must be that big. And you're saying he's going to have these little pegs, and that's where he's going to be attached here. Are they going to glue it? Is there going to be a glue glob there? What are they going to do? This is the most laughable attempt at a render to represent a miniature I have ever seen. This is hilarious. You should not ever see this, to be honest. They know they're selling a board game, and they know they're selling a board game with miniatures this big. You shouldn't ever even render it like this to begin with. The artist should have never even put it in like this. That's just stupid. Rest of the game looks cool, by the way. I think that's cool. That miniature is hot garbage, and I hate it. Okay, let's talk about Darkest Dungeon. This is going to be by Mythic Games, and this is coming out in October as well. And I must say, I think everybody's really excited about that. Let me actually make sure here. October or November. We're not quite sure yet. Frostpunk is October 6th, by the way. So Darkest Dungeon, this is the video game it's based off of. I want to explain this real quick before we start talking about the game itself. So here you have your 4 people lined up in order, and then bad guys can be 4 lined up in order the opposite direction. You're going to have your skills here, and your skills can only attack certain things. So like, for instance, this number 2 here is his, attack that attacks the first person and the second person. So attack both of them. Whereas this one will just be the person either attacking the first or second, but only one of them. There'll be some that can only attack on the back, and then there are some that might not be available unless you're in the back. So the Highwayman here, for instance, will have different moves if he's way back here than if he's way up here. So position is one of the most important parts there. Additionally, you have a map that you're exploring and you're kind of going around the exploring thing, but it's always just pretty much left to right. Sometimes you can go right to left, but either way, you're just kind of going in one direction. So you kind of select where you go here, and then you go across there, and that's flipped kind of this way, and you're going across that way. Then you have your equipment, obviously, and your stats and whatnot. But basically, that is Darkest Dungeon. You're going through there, and then eventually you fight. Either you do the scenario, or you defeat the boss, if that is the scenario. So coming from that, let's go ahead and start this video. I'm going to skip around a little bit. I just kind of wanted to show you that. So here is the board game. Now you'll notice there's a lot different here. So here is that general order that they have, and then the torch level and whatnot. But the order, if you notice, is like aggressive, defensive, ranged, and support is what they're calling them now. And depending on where you're at in this depends on what you can use. But otherwise, you're moving freely around the board itself. So here's a Highwayman here, and then here's, I don't know where the... Okay, so it's hard to see from here. I'll keep playing it. But either way, you can move around to different locations. And so if you're using your skills, they'll be like, okay, this is the first one. Here's 2 away or 3 away or something like that. It's kind of generally how this goes. I think there is a better look at the board. So we'll take a look at that. Okay, so here's kind of your health, and then you have your dodge here. It's a weird symbol for dodge, but whatever. Your movement, and then your resistances or immunities, and you have your different skills. At level 1, which is what this guy is, he can have 3. At level 2, you get 1. At level 3, you get another 1. You can hold a disease. You can have your stress gauge here, and then your quirks with a max of 3. Again, a lot like the game kind of structurally, which is kind of cool. And then you can flip these cards over, and they do different things. So there's the Crusader there, which I believe he's over here. I just couldn't see him. But anyway, I think that, again, a lot of it looks super cool. It's a little, look, they got comics here, but they're just going to tease that. A little weird in how it doesn't quite follow the board game, and it's kind of odd to kind of move yourself. We'll see what the feel is, but the miniatures do look really, really good, which is just awesome. And it has all the stats. Here you have the different rooms. I'm excited about it. I like the video game, and so this should be really cool. When it launches either in October or November, we'll see. Ideally, Mythic Games can get us Super Fantasy Brawl out, so we at least have one more delivery before another campaign launches. And then, ideally, we have Solomon Kane in our hands, at least while the PM is open, so you can, if nothing else, $1 late pledge, get into the PM once you see how they handled Solomon Kane. They've had a few issues with pretty much all their past Kickstarters when it comes to the printed material. So we're just going to have to keep an eye on that. But this does look super cool, and so I'm excited about that. All right, moving on. We have the Warp. Now, the Warp is going to be in October. And as you can see, it is a lot of game. It's one of those 4X games. There's a ton here. Lots of miniatures, lots of like crazy aliens and weirdness and all sorts of stuff. It looks like one of those, I think, they're always almost sci-fi. If you notice that, a lot of them are sci-fi. And I'm always inclined to look at these games, but I've never actually played any of them. I want to go to the images fully here, just so you can see some of the, like, hexes, I think, look great. I actually really like that. I think these show up really well. Some of the alien species are pretty crazy. It kind of reminds me of Galactic Civilizations. I know I played a ton of Galactic Civilizations 2 back in the day. So that's kind of cool. Here's like maybe somebody's player board that you might have. You got some cards and you got some units and stuff. Anyway, I think it actually looks pretty cool. Like looking at this, it almost looks like a real-time strategy game, like an RTS. And I really dig that. So this one actually looks, I think, fairly neat. The miniatures actually look pretty good too. So there's that as well. It's here in October. Next up, the 7th Citadel. I've been talking about this. This will be September 22nd. So this is coming out very, very soon. If you're watching this when I launch that, already 7,500 people are following it. That's insane. It's crazy. It goes to show if you make a good game, people want more. You make more good games, people keep wanting it. That's how Awakened Realms has been running their operation. It's how Sears Pulp is doing their stuff. Just make good games. Here's kind of an idea of it. If you see the places you kind of go are really crazy and insane, and they kind of form this map as you're kind of going around, but different things are happening. The art style, at least here right now, looks crazy. Like, I really like this. I really dislike that. So anyway, it looks pretty darn neat if you ask me. There's a lot of images. Here's it built out a little bit more. As you can see, things keep happening and you keep kind of progressing that way. Either way, a lot of people are excited, and that's coming out very soon. It's going to be a huge Kickstarter, so if you want in on that, I'm sure it's popular for a reason. You can go ahead and follow the link. Again, description down below. Okay, next we have the 7th Cross by level 99. Now, this is updated last June 5th. Right, so it's a little old, and it's hard to read because I don't know what red versus black is. If red is what they're currently working on, then it's weird that you would do development before art, but maybe that makes sense. But then, like, the planning after the design, I don't know if that makes any sense. So I don't know what any of this is going on. Supposedly, this is still a 2020 release. That being said, hopefully they've updated a little bit more of this. So we'll see. That being said, really, as long as they do development and pre-press, I think they're pretty good. What this is a crazy game. It's super unique. I'll talk about it a little bit. So, first of all, the art style is super, anime, just is what it is. You're doing a lot of kind of adventuring where you're going around and you're fighting these bosses, and you see all these like crazy, like, movements and attacks and stuff like that. Well, a lot of that is because this is an example of a map. Now, this is a super prototype. It's not going to look like this in the final version. But you might be thinking, what the heck is this? And you can kind of zoom in and maybe, okay, you can't even zoom in. You can kind of see, here, I'll zoom in this way. Kind of see some art here that looks kind of weird, like almost a video gamey. Why would that be? Well, that's because of this. Again, anime. When you're playing it, you're on a 2D board that's representing kind of a Castlevania style map. So when you're fighting and attacking, you're moving on these platforms, and I'm assuming you're sliding the cards in here. Let me zoom in on this a little bit. But I think I might have an image here. Yeah. So these are going to hold cards, and you're going to be moving along this and doing it that way. That sounds insane to me. Now, I don't know how gimmicky that is versus how cool that is versus how useful that is versus how fun that is. But conceptually, it's different and it's unique, and as long as everybody's sitting on one side of the table, it might actually work. So either way, that's super cool. So still looking forward to that. Looks super in-depth and advanced. We'll see once they start ramping up that pre-press for it, I guess. Okay, moving on, Sankokushin. Now, Sankokushin, the board game, 5 Sacrifices, has been postponed to Q1 2021. However, they're still planning on doing a resin miniature line of 75mm super fancy miniatures. Here's like an example of one of them. And by the way, look at her base with kind of like the Zen garden kind of thing. That's super cool. I like that one. Here's kind of how she would be kind of painted up, which I think would be super, super cool. I like the blue, with a little bit of gold and a little bit of orange in there. I think that's really good. Here's this guy. He's got a baby in his stomach like he's in Death Stranding, which is crazy. But if you want to see how he's kind of colored up, you can kind of see that. Crazy world, crazy boss battle game where you're actually fighting both their personalities and their, them themselves, like their physical body. Here is Katsu, the failed sacrifice. I actually painted her up, so there's a link to that down below if you want to see how one of these paints up. Super, again, unique. She's very crazy as a person. But, I mean, again, the art style here is just super unique and bananas, and kind of the stylized sort of anime, but not really. It's almost more cartoony than anime, if that makes sense. The board game art, that looks amazing. I want a wall print of that. Give me a poster of that or a t-shirt or something. I would buy the crap out of that. That's freaking awesome. So anyway, you can kind of see the miniatures are super dynamic, super unique. This is a kind of like a golem, like a mechanized armor suit that's filled with darkness, and as you attack it, like expels darkness, but then if it gets knocked into darkness, it soaks it back up and heals. Crazy stuff. As you're trying to like talk to it, every now and then it'll like be like short circuit and turn all robot. There's a lot of craziness in this game. Looks super cool. The miniatures look super unique, so that'll be coming out here soon, the miniature Kickstarter. Next up, We have ISS Vanguard. Now, this has been teased for forever from Awakened Realms. We still don't know a whole lot about it, but they're showing a lot of art, and the art is indeed very, very pretty. So that's super cool. You can kind of see they're talking about, how are we going to theme the box here. But if you look at the art, it really is exquisite. Some of this stuff here, even the stuff they're trying out, I think looks good. All the different kind of like weird plants and outcroppings and kind of almost coral stuff here. You got, different designs here that look, I think, very, very cool, like the robot dude here. This is very movie poster kind of Star Wars-y. I really appreciate that. A lot of really, really crazy stuff. Again, artwork looks awesome. I'm all about kind of an exploration survival space game, and I think Awakened Realms might do it to actually my liking. So looking forward to kind of finding out more about this in the future. They're going to be ramping this up here very, very soon now that Nemesis is over, and this is going to be kind of the bee's knees here. This is not, I think, from the game, but that looks super cool too. But this would totally be from the game. Okay. Moving on from that, Primal The Awakening. Now, Primal is coming out here soonish, and it, again, looks super cool. It's very much based off of Monster Hunter, at least thematically, but the play is actually kind of unique. So you have the boss, and then you kind of encircle the bad guy or the beast that you're trying to hunt. As you're moving around, you're playing cards to like gain aggro and attack different things. There's a lot of different elemental attacks. So each of your things kind of do different types of damage. There's a lot of different kinds of weapons. There's armor sets that you can get. There's a lot of crafting with materials that you'll get. The miniature design looks amazing. I think this is a very cool looking dragon here. And of course, then they have this guy here. Here he is kind of only partially painted. Again, he's looking cool. Here he is in the game art. Definitely something to look out for. I think it looks like the combat's going to be pretty tight. I'll obviously let you guys know as I cover it more in the future. Next up, we have Mortal Kombat by Jasco Games, the Mortal Kombat, the miniatures game. This might come out towards the end of 2020. We'll have to see. It depends on when the Street Fighter version of the game releases. I wanted to show the miniatures a little bit just because I think that they're doing some incredible work on the design here. First of all, they learned a lot from the Street Fighters version where they've already gotten like 60% of all the art and stuff approved by Capcom, which is huge. That's really been a huge delay otherwise. And of course, they've already finalized how to do these miniatures well and what they like. One of my favorite is this. Having 3 of him on the base, I think is really, really cool. And just having different levels of transparent green until it's the final one. That's a sweet Johnny Cage. I really like that. Raiden looks really cool too. I love that. Jade with the 2 swirls here. And then, of course, Scorpion with flames everywhere. These all look super cool. So I'm super pumped about this. I'm really excited for the Street Fighter one. I'm really excited about the Mortal Kombat one. I wish, hope, and pray they can eventually do the Dragon Ball Z one. Next up, we have Ragnarok. This will be Mythic Battles Ragnarok by Monolith. Here's a miniature I hadn't shown before, so I was going to show this to you. This looks freaking amazing. Very, very cool. Really digging that. Some of these are just exquisite. Obviously, they kind of already pre-released him, Ymir, so he's going to be in there. We're going to have... So this is a group, so some of these don't make sense. We're going to have this freaking, like, pig mask dude with a huge sword here. The kind of wolf or bear pelt guy. This guy looks freaking sweet. I love his kind of look there. We have this guy here. This is definitely the wolf guy. Different swords on all of them, which are super cool. We have a couple different ladies here. I don't know which one each one is. They're probably different goddesses. This is Frigg, for instance. And then here's a different kind of a whole thing of Frigg. I love how she's coming off the base, by the way. Love that. Love when they do that. Really, really do. So I think that's super cool. They have a ton of really just, like, here is, like this is insane. Like, that is a crazy half kind of like, and again, painted with a black and white kind of look to it. Looks awesome. No, she's floating. Glowing eyes look super cool. She's going to be freaking sweet. They have some hidden ones here we can't quite see all yet, but those look super cool. We got a dude on a horse here. These are just inklings. These are like kind of deep dive looks into it. I can't wait to see more though, because they look freaking sweet, and the gameplay, Mythic Battles Pantheon, is a lot of fun, so very much looking forward to Ragnarok. Next up we have Fallen Knight. Now, Fallen Knight I kind of blew the lid off of a little bit. It looks a lot like it's trying to be Kingdom Death, like a big black box with kind of a faded thing here. You got stuff like this going on, right? Very Kingdom Death-like here, or even, kind of Dark Souls-ish a little bit, which I think is pretty cool. Here's an older box, before it looks like they went to kind of like the longer one. Not all of it, some of this is not from the game, but from the artist that's doing work on the game. But I wanted to show this a little bit to kind of explain a little bit. Essentially, it's all card-based, combat. It's a dungeon crawl game for 1 to 4 people. And what it is you start with no class, and then you actually extract memories from fallen enemies, and then that gives you abilities and enhancements, and that's kind of how you make your own sort of class, is based off that. So that's kind of what's going on here. In fact, if we come here on Reddit, which thank you Megalian for mentioning me, I think that's super cool of you. Anyway, he says right here it's a card-driven dungeon crawl where you play as a Death Knight who's lost everything, including your memories, and gets memories from corpses, which then is kind of how you are, given a class of a sense. Uncensored stories, I don't even know what that means. Class building, all that. There is a link here you can follow. Again, link down below to check this out. Looks like it might be pretty cool. I'd like to know a lot more about the gameplay soon, but it looks like it might be October that it launches, is kind of what we're hoping for now. Okay, moving on, we have Starcide. This is by Archon. They've been releasing these miniatures. Like, I have a few of these, just kind of teasing it and kind of putting it out there. They're Hips miniatures. They come great. As you can see, you gotta glue them together, but they look really, really nice when they're put together. And as you can see, they paint up great. Not that I'd ever paint that good, but somebody did. The artwork for that guy is right here, so you kind of see the artwork it's based off of. Kind of get a sense of the world here. Looks crazy. I mean, you got like these guys here. That looks freaking sweet. Some really, really cool. This looks like it actually be kind of a neat game once they do it. It looks like it's using Rampart as kind of its terrain. A lot to kind of look at here and kind of digest. We don't know much about the gameplay at all, at least I don't, but the world looks cool. Miniatures look like they're very high quality, so color me interested. I would be down with this guy any day. Next up, we have Welded Iron, which is an 18xx game. This looks like the world is absolutely crazy. So, I mean, like, it kind of is like a Scythe kind of look to it a little bit, but perhaps a bit more dark, as you can see. I'm going to go to images here just to show you. It can also look really pretty. So you got stuff like this. Like, this looks great to me. Now, how the game plays, how all that is, I don't know, because all we have is some very, very beautiful art. But if the art has anything to say about it, this looks really, really crazy. It looks like it's got a little bit of everything. At least when it comes to covering it. We got nature, we got cities, we got airplanes, we got tanks, we got foot soldiers, we got cavalry, we got the freaking Iron Giant being one with nature over here. I'm assuming that's a really big bird, but perhaps, I don't know what's going on there. Either way, that looks interesting, at least perked my interest. Okay, time for another kind of frustration. This art, by the way, looks freaking sweet. This is Endarth Covenant, and as you can see, they have a super unique and cool looking world that they've kind of made here. This is my style. This is my jam. I love the dark fantasy. I love the kind of just crazy look to everybody. Like, look at that guy. I wouldn't trust that guy at all. No wonder he's a bandit. So super interesting look here. Like, she's got these kind of like wing symbol behind her, this kind of archer ranger thing. So you're thinking like, wow, this looks super cool. Like, this would be a sweet board game. And not only that, but like, look at this. Like, that's your player board. You got these different cards and tokens and abilities, all that stuff. All of that looks super, super cool. And then they introduce Daibo. What is Daibo, you say? Daibo is a more expensive, harder to store, and more finicky version of a video game. That's right, you get a tempered glass 1080p resolution, 64 gigabytes, it's got Wi-Fi, it's got Bluetooth, it's got expenses galore. You want to spend money? Here it is, 4 gigs of RAM. Bam, look at that. That is how you're playing this game. That is not cool. I have very little desire to do any of this. It looks cool. I will give them that. It looks cool here. I don't want to store a whole bunch of these. I don't want to store one of these. I don't want to lug it out. I don't want to take this to a cabin and play like I did my other board games, where I may not even have Wi-Fi. Yeah. So, anyway, I was super excited with it, and then I saw this, and let's just say I was less excited because all of the rest of it looks cool. And if this was optional, I'd be all about it. But yeah, I'm not down with that at all. So that was kind of a bummer. But supposedly that's coming out at some point. Lastly, I want to talk about Bloodstone. I've mentioned this several times. It's supposedly still on track and they're still working on it. It's supposedly coming out here soon. The miniatures look kind of interesting. The art looks cool. I dig a lot of the kind of style that it has. I think it looks exciting. I don't know how it plays at all, so we'll have to kind of find out more, but supposedly it's still in the pipeline, and last I heard it was still 2020, so we'll see how that turns out. But anyway, that's it. That's everything I had to share with you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found something useful or insightful or at least entertaining. If you did, let me know. If I missed anything, let us all know. Comment below. Let me know what game I missed that's still coming out in 2020. We can add it to the list in the description. People can know about it, can thumbs it up. We kind of discuss different things here. I am sure I missed quite a few good games that you guys are aware of, and I would love for you to let everybody know that. So feel free to share. Additionally, if you just want to share this video, obviously that helps both me, but it also helps anybody that might be looking to spending money to know what's coming up, so you know whether you need to hold off on something else or something like that. Either way, thanks so much for watching. I had a blast talking to you guys today. I can't wait to talk to you guys in the comments below. I always love hanging out with you guys. You guys make the best community ever, and I couldn't be happier being a part of it. Anyway, take care, have a great rest of your week, and I will talk to you guys again very, very soon.